These boots are made for baking.
Feeling the fall vibe? We're going to make pumpkin pecan scones with maple glaze.
The recipe is going to be in the description of this video as always. We're preheating the oven to 425 and we're going to mix up all of the dry ingredients. I'm using coconut sugar in this recipe instead of brown sugar. I noticed that it's much more softer than brown sugar, packed brown sugar. And the reason why we're preheating the oven to 425 is because we're going to put some pecans in there and heat those up for about 3 minutes. Those are out and they are warm. That little tool there is ancient. That is an inheritance from my mother, and I just love it, and I'm just using it for the nostalgia of her memory. And I noticed when I was editing this film that my hands and my arms, they look like hers, and it's so fun to see her come alive in my videos. I saved a little bit of extra pecans, and that's going to be used for the topping. So I'm just going to use my food processor. And I'll just mention it now, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. For those that have subscribed, maybe you know that I am on a diet right now, but I feel like I need to do a fall video like this, and then I probably won't do another sweet till maybe a few months, and then I'll just kind of see where everything is at. The plate that's sitting there that looks like it's grated cheese, it's actually frozen grated butter. And now is the time that you're going to want to keep your dough as cold as possible. I put my can of pumpkin in the refrigerator overnight to make sure that that was nice and cold. And together that's going to help it stay colder. I have another video of a cranberry orange scone, and this time I really learned that by having your dough really cold, it really helps when it comes time that when we're cutting the scones and placing them on the baking dish, they're much more firmer and easier to handle. That dough is coming together really nice. Do you ever wonder why actresses were so skinny back in the day? Have you thought about how our food has changed over the decades? Like, they weren't eating the processed foods that we're eating. They weren't eating all the sugar, I don't believe. I mean, well, Coca-Cola did come on the scene pretty early, but aside from that, they definitely had a different way of eating. I'm definitely going to have one of these scones. I know I'm on a diet, but I'm going to have one, and that's going to help me stay the course, because this is a very new way of eating for me, and we'll just see what happens. I like to brush it with milk, and this is going to help give it that golden brown look when it cooks. And it's just going to be on 425 for about 15 minutes. Now, after I brush it with this milk, I'm putting this back into the refrigerator because I want to get it nice and cold. While that is in the refrigerator, we can go ahead and make the topping and get the oven preheated again to 425. That's a little bit of syrup in there and powdered sugar, 1 cup of powdered sugar. Everything is going to be in the description, and just a little pinch of salt, and then whisk that up. I had a little bit of some bourbon syrup, and I added a little bit of that in there to give it a little bit more flavor, as well as putting in some pumpkin spice. That made all the difference for the topping. the icing. I love that icing. It is so good. And when the scones were done, they are not too sweet. I definitely wanted to add more of that icing. My husband thought it was perfect. Had enough sweetness, and it's just a really good, solid scone. Look at the golden brownness and the beautiful icing. Can't go wrong with this. If you love pumpkin and if you love the sweetness of pecan, this is a great recipe. And if you're hearing like a jet engine, that's because I need a new Mac computer. This one is older and it has a fan in it that keeps going off and driving me insane. There's been a lot of things that happened during the creation of this video. My pumpkin platter shattered. I had to run to the store in my go-go boots and dress, and now I have this jet engine that is gonna be taking off. Hopefully this video will take off just like a 747. And that sounds like the Seattle rain.
I interrupt this carnivore diet for a brief tasting. So good.